What was once primarily driven by historical, cultural, and political ties is increasingly expanding into new strategic domain that will shape the future of our societies and economies. Among these domains, technology, clean energy, and critical minerals stand out as some of the most consequential. Today, the global economy is undergoing a transition characterized by digitalization, decarbonization, and the growing importance of advanced technologies. Artificial intelligence, digital infrastructure, renewable energy systems, and green industrial development are becoming key drivers of competitiveness and sustainable growth. At the same time, the demand for critical minerals essential for batteries, renewable energy technologies, electric vehicles, and advanced manufacturing is rapidly increasing worldwide. In this evolving landscape, from the Central Asia and Turkey possess significant opportunities. Central Asia, endowed with substantial natural resources, considerable renewable energy, and young potential population. Turkey, meanwhile, has developed important industrial capabilities, technological expertise, manufacturing capacity, and growing ambitions in innovation and energy transformations. The combination of these strengths creates a strong foundation for mutually beneficial cooperation. However, realizing the potential requires more than economic complementaries. It requires coordination, investment in human capital, technology transfer, and the development of sustainable, resilient value chains. It also requires a shared understanding of how to balance economic growth, environmental responsibility, and long-term regional stability. Therefore, our discussions today will focus on several key questions. First, how can Central Asia countries and Turkey strengthen technological cooperation and innovational partnership? Second, what opportunities exist to join projects in a renewable energy, green technologies, and energy transition initiatives? Thirdly, how can the region contribute to rapidly growing global demand for critical minerals while ensuring responsible and sustainable resource management? Fourthly, what mechanism can support the development of value-added industrial change? And finally, how can a knowledge exchange regulatory, harmonization, and institutional we are lucky to have with us an excellent group of expertise and multi-dimensional nature reflects the multidimensional nature of these issues. Our first speaker, Professor Erman Akeli, is distinguished scholar who will help us better understand
are a strategic capacity for the states. Every accelerator and every grid and every transistor. The concentration of those critical minerals supply, and especially become a geopolitical instrument increasingly used in international politics as a leverage. Here, Turkey's position is concrete, not rhetorical. on four different yet intertwined pillars. First, perceive, harness, at least 10 billion US dollars, drawn mainly from the private sector, and to direct at least 2% of the public investment toward the AI technologies. Efficiency matters. It matters because most us fact-checking work is depend anchored in document reality in the instead of changing false truth after the current crash. I describe actually the kind of approach that is completely intolerant. In defining the cognitive borders of a society through the life and embedding the truth in the action. There is a very common explanation actually, technical part, they address technical poisoning. Instead, there is a Turkiye initiative. Turkiye is data facility to the whole academic standard of learning. So sustainability, the cognitive dimension, and the cooperation built on poison information, poison data cannot end. No matter how the clean energy running, that's why we get that. So, as a conclusion, let me draw the thread altogether. The partner who is credible across all three layers of the minute in that breath down to the ball. So this is the main aim of future of the Turkish world. This is why I see Turkey as a huge impact, not just for the Turkish world, but for the common good of the humanity. Turkey's approach is also in the technical world. We are witnessing one side, we have the case of America in the Pacific. On the other side, we are witnessing China, Chinese technological system. But through this approach, through the strong steps that Turkey is taking under the visionary leadership of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, it is providing the third option. And through the Turkey's initiative, we can say that a fairer world is possible in digital plane. Because Turkey is advocating the truth. The truth, most of the time, underestimated through the algorithmic dependence. Right now, in the internet, in the social media, if the key holders of those platforms wants the truth invisible, they can. And they can make visible lies and manipulative content. So we have to back the truth. His initiative of connecting truth data to those systems. So the closing remark, Turkey's suggestion for the construction of a common Turkish language model which will be trade through the both
Actually, it would be a sign that today what we have spoken, it will be echo to the future. Yeah. So, yeah, that
Technical improvements.
yeah. But in the end, well, constructing that kind of large language model would enhance the integrity and the solidarity in the Turkic world as well. To communicating, to sharing with our brethren countries, our brothers and sisters in the large Turkic world family is essential. And I do believe that that large language model will facilitate and enhance that kind of relationship. So, for the closing sentence, I would like to underline my model that I have developed, the digital autonomy. It rests on three different pillars: presence, practice, and resilience. So, if I look through this approach that we have spoken through the lens of my model, the presence can be understood the critical minerals, and the energy base. The practice would be the production and the human capital skills, and resilience in the means the cognitive shield that Turkey proposes for the whole Turkic world. So the sustainable cooperation means co-designing the full stack together, sharing minerals, sharing power, and most importantly, sharing the verified knowledge rather than trading our dependency with the foreign actors. So, a fairer world is possible if we believe and act towards it. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Arman Akıllı. Mr. Arman Akıllı underlined three main directions inside of our session theme and opened each. Thank you very much. Told us about the competition among critical mineral supply chain. Also, we got like a clear information about digital and green transition have same steps for development. And the main thing, and I think we need to underline this, the main thing is trust. And in the field of the Turkic world and integration of the countries of Turkic world, this thing must be the main.
Yes, so true.
Thank you very much.
With your permission, Mr. Chair, I would like to add some sentences. Right now, as a professor, I have to admit that most of my students, not all of them, most of my students are using large language models for preparing their essays and their homeworks. But the thing is, when I am reading those to grade them, I am witnessing with shock that there were like falsehoods regarding to the history. So not all large language models are trustworthy.
Yeah.
That's the critical part. And Why Turkey's initiative as an AI shield is so important? Because Turkey is embedding with the verified truth for the as a reference data set for the training of those large language models. Otherwise, those models are just web scraping, and they are training with the whatever text data that they have received. So that's the most critical part that we all need to be aware of, because well, we are all well educated in the saloon, but let's consider a, a simple person that have no had chance to have a higher education and have very limited understanding and the knowledge regarding the history of the Turkic world. And when he make or she make a research or give a prompt towards that large language models and have an answer, they would be tend to believe what they have seen. If the answer is wrong, if it would be a huge lie, who would be the responsible one?
All right.
So the prejudices and the narratives are constructing through the algorithms in this 21st century. So as the states, we have to take initiative, and I do believe that the Turkic world has a huge potential to become the next big technological center for the whole world. Thank you so much for letting me.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Manakali. We need to think more about the more integration of our educational systems,
So true.
humanitarian section, and the Turkic world must be more close in the education fields, including the AI and technologies. And in this case, other things must be more predictable. Yeah, and the situation like with your students will not arise. And thank you very much. And yet one thing, I think there's a same like akıllı in Uzbek, like as far as we're talking in about the Turkey. In Uzbek, it's mean clever. I think
Same
there's a
Turkey as well.
yeah. You see, like thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you.
Manakali.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so we can give the floor to our second speaker. I hope that he's with us. He's connecting us online. It's Mr. Halilullah Hamidov. I'll tell him about him shortly. Maybe up to I will finish. He will arise on the screen. I hope. So, Mr. Halilullah Hamidov, he is a deputy director of the Institute for Macroeconomic and Regional Studies under the cabinet minister of Uzbekistan. It's one of the biggest think tanks in Uzbekistan. Actually, maybe the same like which we are representing at the Institute for International Studies on Central Asia. That organizations, I mean the macroeconomic and regional studies under the cabinet minister of Republic of Uzbekistan, brings extensive experience in economic policy. Oh, see, okay. So, brings extensive experience in economic policy, development strategies, and investment initiatives. His insights will be contribute to our understanding of economic dimensions of sustainable technologies and industrial development. Mr. Murat Aslan just told me that Mr. Halilullah Hamidov is online and he can hear us. Please, Mr. Halilullah Hamidov, the floor is yours. Can you hear us?
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Oh, it's really great to hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you can talk. We can hear you, please.
Okay. Good afternoon, dear colleagues, and thank you for the opportunity to present. My main message is simple. Uzbekistan and Turkey already have a functioning value chain link in critical minerals, I hope, but the link remains mostly upstream. That's Uzbekistan supplies mainly raw and intermediate mining sector inputs. The next opportunity is to move into the refined metals, powders, components, technology transfer, and jointly access markets, including MENA region and European Union. And in other words, the next chapter should not be measured only on tons of ore or concentrate. It should be measured by the value retained before the export and technology absorbed and skilled jobs created and processed products sold together to the wider markets. And in this case, Uzbekistan brings the resource base and 2026 in 2030 industrial program. And in this case, Turkey brings industrial capability, investment experience in market access. The question for this forum is how to convert this complementarity into concrete and bankable projects. So in the next slide, in this slide, I will structure a presentation around the 3 points. First, critical minerals are no longer only mining topic. They are becoming part of economic security and industrial competitiveness. And second, Uzbekistan is acting at the right time with the concrete 2030 program. Third, Turkey is the right partner because the relationship is complementary. Uzbekistan has resources and project sites, while Turkey has companies, technologies, financing channels, and market access. The policy question is therefore practical. Which joint processing project should we launch first, and under what institutional mechanism? The global context has changed. In 2024, International Energy Agency data shows lithium demand rising by nearly 30%, with nickel, cobalt, graphite, and rare earths also growing. At the same time, supply is not becoming less concentrated. And the top 3 refining countries increased their share to 86% in 2024, and China is dominant refiner for 19 out of 20 strategic minerals analyzed by this agency. This matters because restrictions and controls now affect more than half of energy-related minerals, including metals that are highly relevant to Uzbekistan, such as tungsten, tellurium, and molybdenum. The key point is that processing and supply chain control now matter as much as geological endowment. And on the other hand, the European Union is important because it has turned critical raw materials into rule-based industrial agenda. The Critical Raw Materials Act sets benchmark for extraction, processing, recycling, and supplier diversification. The 35% supplier cap benchmark is especially relevant because it creates demand for alternative trusted partners. And the EU doesn't only need mines, it needs reliable processing capacity, standards, traceability, and transport routes. This is where Uzbekistan and Turkey can jointly position themselves. Uzbekistan can host processing and material production, and Turkey can connect these products to industrial users and to European market. And this slide shows that critical minerals are now a presidential level priority in Uzbekistan. And 3 days ago, His Excellency President Shavkat Mirziyoyev reviewed plans to expand the raw materials base and develop high value added products. And the message is clear. Critical minerals are no longer only a mining issue. They are essential for high-tech industries, economic security, and industrial competitiveness. Uzbekistan's goal is therefore to move from raw materials toward processing, high-purity metals, and finished products. That creates an initial opening for cooperation with Turkey. And according to the program, Uzbekistan is not only discussing potential. This program gives the sector clear industrial directions. It includes 120 projects worth $2.2 billion and target out of $2 billion by 2030. And the program also aims to expand from the current focus on tungsten, molybdenum toward industrial production of 28 critical minerals. And the 2026 launches are especially useful for cooperation because they include high purity selenium, tellurium, and rhenium, plus import substituting products. And Turkiye is a critical. The Turkiye city is a critical platform, technopark, R&D center, analysis laboratory, and digital geology and education expected in this platform. And just yesterday, at the 5th Tashkent International Investment Forum, His Excellency President Shavkat Mirziyoyev named high value-added chains as a third investment priority in Uzbekistan. So he stated that Uzbekistan is rich in gold, copper, uranium, and tungsten, and estimates the country subsoil wealth and strategic raw materials at $3 trillion. And he also announced plans to create open digital geological database, increase the number of deposits put up for auction fourfold. And for an Ankara audience, it's important to present Turkey not only as a buyer of Uzbek minerals. Turkey brings a downstream industrial ecosystem. It has experience in mining, mineral-based products, mostly visible in Baron, where ATMED reports that Turkey holds 73% of world reserves. And it also brings manufacturing capacity in metallurgy, machinery, automotive, and electric equipment. On the bilateral side, more than 2,000 Turkish enterprises operate in Uzbekistan, including 438 joint ventures. And this means institutional and business base already exists. And the missing element is a critical minerals specific industrial agenda. The United Nations SCAP regional integration value chain analyzer data provide useful diagnostics for both Uzbekistan and Turkey. In 2020, Uzbekistan exported about $100 million of mining sector goods to Turkey, and the reverse flow was only about $2.2 million. So the raw materials flow heavily one way. This is not necessarily weakness. It means that market relationship already exists. Turkey is not a hypothetical partner. It's already an important destination for Uzbekistan mining sector. The main analytical slide, this is my main analytical slide, and United Nations RIVA shows that nearly 87% of Uzbekistan mining export to Turkey is domestic Uzbek value added. That's positive, and Uzbekistan is not simply re-exporting foreign content, but the distribution of that value is challenged. About 44% is consumed as intermediate inputs in Turkey. Another 42% is embedded in Turkish export to third economies. And RIVA records zero final goods mining exports from Uzbekistan to Turkey. And strategic conclusion is clear: the road already works, but Uzbekistan needs to move up the road by processing more before export. And in the next slide, the target model is a corridor, but not only a transport corridor. It's industrial corridor. The chain begins with geology and exploration, then mining and concentration, then refining, powders, components, and market access. Uzbekistan should lead the upstream and host more midstream processing. In joint ventures should cover refining, metals, and components. And Turkey should play the role of industrial partner and market gateway. And this framing is important because it links critical minerals to the broader Central Asia Turkey agenda: connectivity, industrial cooperation, clean energy, and technology. The agenda should avoid becoming too broad. I suggest for project clusters with the first two as the strongest candidates for anchor feasibility studies. First, tungsten and molybdenum advanced materials, because Uzbekistan already has a base in these metals, and this presidential program emphasized a full value chain. And second, high purity selenium, tellurium, uranium, because production is planned in 2026 this year, and global supply chain are highly concentrated. And third, digital geology and nano analysis service in Chirchik city, which can support all exploration projects. And fourth, secular metals from industrial waste tailing, which links agenda to sustainability and resource efficiency. So also international experience shows that market forces alone are not enough. Japan, for example, Japan long-term rare earth supply arrangements with Australia show the importance of offtake, price mechanism, and public investment. The European model showed the importance of strategic project standards and traceability and financial access. And international energy agencies' broad lesson is that diversification requires shared de-risking. And for Uzbekistan and Turkey, this can be translated into working with three work streams: project outline, finance, and standards. Immediate output should be 2 or 3 anchor joint ventures, not another general declaration. So, and I close with a practical agenda. In the first 30 days, we can establish working group and agree focused mineral shortlist. In the next 30 days, we can screen 120 project pipeline and identify 2 or 3 anchor projects. In the following 30 days, launch joint feasibilities work with Turkish partners, including offtake letters and financing project, and we can adopt a shared market strategy, create think tank project, and frame the whole agenda as win-win approach. And we can secure supply for Turkey and domestic value job technology for Uzbekistan. And thank you very much. That's from me, and thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Halil Hamidov, for your brilliant speech. And you told us about that Uzbekistan is moving from a resource-based to an industrial platforms, and gave on us like a detailed information about this within your project, within your presentation. You also gave us the data about the 4 project clusters, which can convert into the strategy into bankable cooperation. And the main thing, I think it's also interesting about the duration of the creating new projects. There's a 90 days. And now we concretely can understand the duration of the starting of the projects from the zero to the project documents, to the period of the project documents creation. Thank you very much, Mr. Halil Hamidov, for your time, for your attention. Thank you very much. And our next speaker, she also connecting us online. Thank you very much. Dr. Gabdulina Janar Muratovna. She is a Deputy Director of Kazakhstan Institute for Strategic Studies under the President of the Republic of Kazakhstan. I think it will not be wrong if I'll tell it's one of the biggest and main think tanks in Kazakhstan. And we are really grateful for Ms. Gabdulina Janar that she's joined us. She is a respected expert in political and strategic affairs. Her contribution will help us explore the institutional and policy frameworks necessary for effective regional cooperation between interregional cooperation and between Central Asia and Turkey. Thank you very much. Ms. Janar, the floor is yours.
Dear colleagues and distinguished panelists, it's a privilege and a pleasure to join you at today's forum. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of this important discussion. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but we
Okay.
can louder now. Can we do? Yeah, can we do a bit louder? Because
Yeah, I hope you can hear me well because from my side I'm on the maximum mode.
I think from your side it's okay, right? Because yeah, you can continue.
I'm afraid I'm the one who is standing between you and lunch, so bear with me for 5-6 minutes. I will try to be short. In recent years, cooperation between Kazakhstan and Turkey has acquired a qualitatively new content. If a few decades ago our cooperation was based on historical and cultural ties, today we are talking about forming a full-fledged strategic partnership covering trade, investment, transport, energy, and industrial cooperation. According to the results of 2025, the trade turnover between Kazakhstan and Turkey reached $5.4 billion, an increase of almost 9% compared to previous year. At the same time, Kazakhstan's exports grew by 17.7% and approached $4 billion. Our countries have set an ambitious goal. Sorry. Yeah, our countries have set an ambitious goal to bring mutual trade to $10 billion. Turkey is one of the five largest trading partners of Kazakhstan. More than 5,000 enterprises with Turkish capital are registered in the country, and the portfolio of joint investment projects includes more than 170 initiatives with a total value of about $9.5 billion. Kazakhstan's main exports are copper and copper cathodes, crude oil, aluminum, petroleum products, propylene, polymers, and agricultural products. At the same time, Kazakhstan is only part of a larger picture. According to the Eurasian Development Bank, the volume of accumulated Turkish investments in Central Asia reached $8.6 billion, an increase of more than 3 times compared to 2020. The number of Turkish companies in the region exceeded 7,000. All this shows that cooperation between Central Asia and Turkey is gradually moving from the traditional model of trade to a more complex model of industrial cooperation, technological interaction, and joint participation in the formation of new value chains. That's why the issues of technology, clean energy, and critical minerals are of particular importance today. The global energy sector is undergoing a period of fundamental changes. Until a few years ago, the energy transition was seen primarily as a gradual abandonment of fossil fuel. However, it's now becoming clear that the next stage will be determined by not by competition between traditional and renewable energy, but by competition between countries for the ability to provide the new economy with reliable, affordable, and technologically sophisticated energy. The International Energy Agency predicts that global electricity consumption will grow by an average of 3.6 annually by 2030. The development of artificial intelligence and data centers can lead to an increase in the energy consumption by more than 2 times, from 415 to almost 950 terawatt hours by the end of the decade. At the same time, the global critical minerals market, currently estimated at about $320 billion, is projected to double by 2032. All this means that technology is becoming the main factor of competitiveness. In these circumstances, Kazakhstan and Turkey have complementary advantages. Kazakhstan is one of the key suppliers of critical minerals for the global economy. It has reserves of 21 out of 34 critical minerals. Kazakhstan also remains the world's largest producer of uranium, accounting for about 43% of global production. In addition, Kazakhstan has significant reserves of copper, titanium, chromium, cobalt, lithium, and rare earth elements. At the same time, Kazakhstan is consistently implementing its energy transformation strategy. There are 154 renewable energy facilities operating in the country with a total capacity of more than gigawatt. By 2035, the installed capacity of renewable energy sources may increase more than fourfold and approach 13 gigawatt. In turn, over the past 2 decades, Turkey has become one of the largest energy centers in Eurasia. The country is consistently developing a largest comprehensive energy system that combines gas infrastructure, nuclear power, energy storage, smart grids, and modern energy system management technologies. This approach is gradually turning Turkey into one of the largest energy hubs between Asia and Europe. The Middle Corridor is becoming an important element of the emerging cooperation architecture. Today, it goes far beyond the scope of a transport project and gradually turns into an instrument of economic integration. Turkey is not just a transit country, but an important link between Europe, the Caucasus, Central Asia, and the Middle East. The Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan oil pipeline has already become an important element of the Trans-Caspian energy architecture, ensuring the supply of Kazakh oil to world markets. In the future, the expansion of TANAP may create additional opportunities for transporting energy resources from Central Asia to Europe. At the same time, the development of Baku-Tbilisi-Kars railway line, the creation of the Middle Corridor multimodal operator, digitalization of logistics processes and the introduction of the single window principles are gradually forming a new economic infrastructure in Eurasia. In our opinion, the next stage of cooperation between Kazakhstan and Turkey should be the formation of joint value chains. This is what creates the basis for the emergence of a new energy and technological space in Eurasia. First, formation of trans-regional value chains in the field of critical minerals. Kazakhstan has large reserves of chromium, titanium, uranium, and rare earth elements. However, in the long run, the main value will be created not by export of raw materials, but by the development of processing, production of chemical components, materials and for batteries and other products for new energy. Turkey, which has a well-developed industrial base and metallurgical competencies, can become an important partner in the formation of such chains. Second, joint development of energy storage technologies, smart grids, and energy digitalization. The growth of artificial intelligence, data centers, and digital economy will lead to a sharp increase in demand for electricity. Under these conditions, energy storage, smart grids, control systems, and digital technologies are of particular importance. It's no longer a matter of choosing between fossil fuels or renewable energy sources, but of creating flexible and sustainable energy systems that can ensure reliable energy supply. The third, creation of low-carbon industrial zones. We are talking about the development of energy-intensive industries, metallurgy, chemistry, production of building materials, and other industries that will be able to produce products with a lower carbon footprint. Given the strengthening of climate regulation and the introduction of cross-border carbon mechanisms, this can become an important factor in the competitiveness of countries in the region. Fourth, development of cooperation in the field of hydrogen energy and formation of new energy corridors. Kazakhstan has a significant potential for green hydrogen production, while Turkey, due to its geographical location and developed infrastructure, can become an important link in its transportation to European markets. Additional opportunities are offered by the implementation of the Trans-Caspian Green Energy Corridor, which can become part of the new energy architecture of Eurasia. And finally, the fifth, joint development of scientific and technological competences and human capital. Ultimately, it's people, knowledge, and technology that will determine countries' ability to create new industries, adapt to technological change, and ensure long-term competitiveness. Thus, cooperation between Kazakhstan and Turkey is gradually moving from the resources transit trade model to the technology industry innovation model. It's technology that is becoming the main factor of competitiveness, and energy is the basis for a new stage of strategic partnership between Kazakhstan, Turkey, and the countries of Central Asia. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your speech. Ms. Gabdulina. You gave us the main and interesting information about the role of Eurasian Bank in developing cooperation between Kazakhstan and Turkey. We got the main data in gathering mineral resources in Kazakhstan. And I think the key thing also that Ms. Gabdulina told us that the Turkey is an important link between the European Union and Central Asia now. Gave us concrete suggestions for developing technological cooperation between Kazakhstan and Turkey. Thank you very much, Ms. Gabdulina. Now we are going for the part of the discussion. Thank you for all three of our distinguished speakers for their thoughtful and substantive contributions. Thank you very much. We now move to our discussion and question and answer sessions. So I think we have several questions which we got from our online participants, which we got it earlier. And now we also can get questions from the participants who are with us here offline. Please, who wants to ask a question? So if no, I'll continue. We have 3 questions now, and each of the speaker can choose one of question and reply for it. First, when do you see the single most promising area for immediate practical cooperation between Central Asia and Turkey in clean energy and critical minerals? That's the first question, and each speaker can choose it for himself to reply just for one of it. Second one, what concrete steps, whether in standards, regulation, or joint investment, would most effectively move us from raw material export towards shared value-added industrial chains? And the third question, and how can our research institutions and think tanks contribute to building the harmonized standards and best practices that long-term cooperation will require? So as far as Mr. Akali with us, I think you will be the first.
Thanks so much, Mr. Chair. Actually, I would like to thank for our online viewers for their food for thought questions. I would like to answer all of them at once. Actually, for the future of the Turkic world, we have a solid formal document, a document called 2040 Turkic World Vision Paper. In this formal document, actually, there's a number of goals and aims has been listed for the future, that how our countries, our brethren countries, can work harmoniously and solidarity, even in the critical technology level, most importantly for the critical minerals. So we have our roadmap, we have our political will, we have the human capital, so we just need the time. And I do believe that the future and the next decades will be the time of the Turkic world. I do remember 3 years ago at the summit, it was named as the Turkic time. So I do believe that the Turkic time has come. So what do we have to do? We need to work hard as much as possible. As a professor of international relations and also has a degree in software engineering, I would become the best professor. And for my students, they need to become the best students. So we all have our share to reach out the greater Turkic world, not just for our Turkestan geography, but for the better good, the common good of the humanity as well. Because in Turkic world, when we are going to manage the high standards of the technology, the high standards of the regulation, it will amplify and echo and the other parts of the world itself as well. So this is my thoughts. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Professor Erman Akli. And I hope Mr. Halilullah Hamidov and Dr. Gabdulina also with us. Okay. Ms. Gabdulina, I hope you're with us, so I can see you. If you're ready to reply to one of the questions announced earlier, if you wish, I can repeat. But if you wish, if it's not necessary, you can continue. Please.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for the interesting questions. I would, as I'm representing think tank, I would say that there are already, as I said, more than 5,000 enterprises with Turkish capital are working in Kazakhstan. So we are integrated and cooperating, I can say, deeply. And what we can do more is that as a think tanks, concrete steps, we could have a joint researches in terms of what sectors are more has more potential in terms of cooperation between two countries. Those joint researches could be bring us mutual understanding of the situation in Turkey and in Kazakhstan for both parties. So that would help a lot for the analytics to get insights, more deeper understanding and detailed information regarding the countries, and that would help to broaden the cooperation and maybe in the future to create more companies which will work not only in their terms of trade, maybe start producing joint products using the same those rare earth materials and critical minerals. That would be helpful. That's my opinion.
Thank you very much, Jana Muratovna. So we can close our session. And thank you very much for everybody, for the speakers, separate thanks for the organizers and for the participants. Thank you very much. We can go to the next session.
Thank you.
Thank you for everybody.
This concludes our morning session. We have now lunch break till 2 o'clock.